Are you a power-hungry maniac? Do you enjoy hurting people? Are you an optimization freak? Did you ever accidentally microwave a hamster as a child? Well, then I might just have a game for you. Cult of the Lamb. Extortion Optimization Simulation. The game starts as any good Wikipedia article does. A public execution. Your execution, to be specific. Looks like they checked the early life section of your Wikipedia article, but don't worry about it. The story doesn't end there. I mean, it would be kind of funny if they just, at the beginning, you just say no and just, like, roll credits, but anyway, you get a crown and immediately get tasked with grooming the local forest fauna into doing your bidding. It's probably time to start talking about gameplay. This game is subdivided into two main sections, town micromanagement and roguelike dungeon crawling. I've seen this often viewed as a bit of a contentious point, since if you're not a fan of one, it's hard to enjoy the other, but it's pretty good. It's well handled, both sections tie into each other constantly. Progressing one in the game requires progression to the other, so you can't just grind one without doing the other at all. You're incentivized to jump between the two, which does help the game from getting stale. High speed, punishing combat cut with a slow, methodical town sim, while you'll eventually start running out of resources and tasks, dragging you back into the depths of the lands of the heretics. The story follows you, a lamb. No, the lamb. As the entirety of your race has been genocided, to try and avoid the prophecy that a lamb would bring about the end of the old faith. But the bishops forgot that the one who waits that they are trying to keep in prison is, in fact, the god of death, and simply Uno reverse cards your death, taking a typical Greek tragedy turn to the prophecy, where trying to prevent it is exactly what causes the means and motivations to let it happen. The motivation? You are essentially the sole survivor of a genocide, and the means, the Red Crown, which the one who waits gives you, has the power to kill a god. But like a true video game, the bishops get stronger as you climb their hierarchy to kill them. So if you want to kill them all, you're gonna have to get stronger. Which brings us back to the town sim aspect. Increasing the size of your cult and individual cult members' levels gives you more devotion. And like God's drunkest driver, faith will guide you to your destination. It's not a metaphor, that's just, it literally does make you stronger. How you develop your cult, its strengths and weaknesses, and how you can best exploit it, is very much in your control. If you watched like an e-girl playing this game in the early days, you probably either saw like someone playing like Dollhouse with all their beloved little children, or like ruling with brutality that leaves Jesus himself wanting a private word. There's pros and cons to every style of leadership. For example, I centered my cults around the benefits of ritualistic murder, which made the members much more comfortable with the idea. However, this came with the cost of them thinking that dying normally, just getting old and shit, makes them real sad. But don't worry, I made sure I encouraged heavy drug usage, so that anytime my cult got pissed off at me, I'd just order a state-mandated hotbox, and they'd all be too high to remember even why they got mad in the first place. You'll encounter a lot of this as you rank up your cult, pros and cons to every statute you declare, every decision you make. There really isn't any objectively right answers. If you're an indecisive fuck, just grab something randomly and see what works. The path that your cult goes does just sort of happen sometimes. After all, initially I wasn't even really planning on sacrificing anyone. That was until a follower I named Tomato
He craves the sweet release of death.
came up and straight up just asked for me to sacrifice him and shit. So I was like, alright, I'm a sucker for someone asking so nicely. There's two real ways to sacrifice somebody. It involves either tentacle hentai or getting Brazil straight to heaven, allegedly. Which either gives you more devotion to get stronger, or more loyalty to your followers. Essentially, they're XP. If you're me though, you'll just do whatever isn't on cooldown, and then immediately resurrect any actually valuable followers immediately after. My first follower, Miku, a deer, has been resurrected probably a dozen times at this point. Partially because we're wedded, partially because their stats are just so fucking cracked. There's lots of other side characters and stuff that aren't super important. Ratau is the you before you, and you shall succeed, where he got a DUI. The not a fishing guy that teaches you to fish. It's a good food source, I guess. There's a bunch of like glorified fetch quest characters that unlock new fleeces for you, which just generally alters the roguelike dungeon gameplay loop. But that's the gist. Care for and upgrade your followers, and get stronger. Go to the lands of the old faith, kill heretics, kill the bishops, collect resources, collect followers for your cult. Evolve your cult, unlock more weapons and abilities, and we've come full circle. That's a gameplay loop, baby. And there's plenty more small things you encounter along the way, like different weapons, weapon subtypes, curses which act like special types, relics which do whatever the fuck they want to the game. And there's a lot to do and collect. I'm not going to pretend this game is flawless. I did encounter multiple pretty substantial bugs on my first playthrough, but they were all honestly pretty entertaining or not really that detrimental. The Don't Starve Together crossover, you find a spider skull thing that looks straight out of a Spirit Halloween, bury it, and you get Weber. It gives you some like cosmetic recipes and stuff too, but I was very smooth-brained, and this skull was sitting around for a while before I figured out what to do with it. And I somehow managed to duplicate it accidentally and got 2 Webers, hence the whole schizophrenia theme. Also, getting old just kind of broke at some point for my followers. It would just say followers old, with no one actually changing to the old state, but with them still collapsing of a heart attack from old age some days later. I just kind of started guessing who was old enough to, need to be sacrificed. But that's the gist of it, really. I did have more I wanted to say, but frankly, you should really experience most of it yourself. This isn't a Souls game. The story isn't, impossible to follow. Kill the bishops, beat the game, enable New Game Plus where you meet this fruity weird guy, and then kill the bosses again. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that the game is still getting consistent updates, with big things planned for the future. But now, if you don't mind, I have a lamb shrine to attend to. Plenty more content is planned, so stay tuned.
You fucking hate Schlorpo.
Fucking guy. He didn't even do anything. He's like,
Post this to kill Schlorpo faster.
Dude, deadass motherfucking followers are just like, kill this motherfucker. Like, why? I don't know, do it.
I mean,
You know, that'd be a really funny, absolutely no context meme. Just a picture of Miku, and just with the impact font, post this to kill Schlorpo faster or something.
absolutely.
I know, I was fucking on some shit when I was drinking NyQuil and then we went to Macca's and I got fucking spite and I was like, oh, fuck.
Bruh.
That
Bruh.
shit hit different.
I don't know. Hey, Ryan.
Selamat kan, Naka?